This is going off of nothing but pure instinct. Slight communications that I've read from both Daniel and Kramnik. I believe what Kramnik is suffering from is, I think a lot of people would want to call it narcissism, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Um, a narcissist usually only seeks to not necessarily always bring others down, but to make themselves always look good. And while accusing people of cheating, I suppose on its face seems narcissistic, I don't believe it to necessarily be the case. At least in this case. And I say that because Kramnik has a history of accusing people of cheating. Apparently for no reason. And I believe that to be more of a case of not, I suppose, infallibility. I want to say infallibility. To leave yourself infallible because you are because of your prestige or your or this beliefs expertise you have in an area. I don't think that makes him a narcissist, though. I believe a narcissist would have, not to say that a narcissist wouldn't believe themselves infallible, but these overlappings don't necessarily make him that. I think that title is too quickly given out to many. Now, paranoia isn't necessarily a diagnosis, but I would say he suffers from it. And I say that to say that paranoia combined with this sense of infallibility leads me to believe that he's just overconfident. Again, not a narcissist. A narcissist is it's like an actual diagnosis. You know, I just believe that he's overestimated his abilities in the past, and his reluctance to accept his defeat has ultimately led him to believe that those around him are cheating. And I say that I say this because a narcissist would know when to stop. You know what I mean? A narcissist would lie and accuse anyone of cheating, yes, but they would know that it's a lie, and assuming that in their narcissism, they'd like to be perceived well. Always to be perceived as being the best. They perceive themselves as being the best. So inflicting that opinion on other people is, of course, the main objective. I believe that Kramnik ultimately fails on that front. I think really it's just overconfidence. I mean, to be so confident in your abilities and then be taken down by someone you believe to be inferior than yourself is really actually quite normal. I think you see it everywhere all the time, and when someone in carpentry, for example, if someone is used to using a physical level, a bubble level, someone maybe a new hire, let's say this 10-year-old veteran is used to the bubble level, and a new hire comes in and he uses a laser level. um, they're gonna there's first gonna be some generally there's gonna first gonna be some adversity to that, um, and that's because generally people don't like to be wrong, um, and it's not. And in that case, it is slight overconfidence, maybe a bit of arrogance, but you wouldn't call that person a narcissist. You would simply say that they're old-fashioned. I say that to say that you can see this feeling of incompetence arise in everyone at some point. It's just some people hold on to that incompetence a bit more than others. And I think Kramnik can really be seen as someone who's held on to that feeling of being beaten by others quite a bit more strongly than his peers. And at this point, it's really just him, punching the air, fighting ghosts, because personally, I like to believe that there is a part of him that knows that he's wrong, but that part of him is just kind of, it's being overshadowed by this assertion that you don't want to be wrong. No one, like I said, no one wants to be wrong. And so that part of him, in his mind, is just absolutely beating the crap out of the part of him that knows what he's doing isn't right. And I believe that's been amplified by the passing of Danya. Danya Naroditsky. Vladimir Kramnik is really just, he's holding on to the feeling that he was right, because he doesn't want that blood on his hands, so to speak. And that in itself is also human. I think what we're seeing is not a case of narcissism, but a case of simply being wrong for so long that you don't want to accept that what you've said and done is wrong. So I think what we're seeing really is just a case of humans being people. These people just happen to be public figures. Not to condone Vladimir Kramnik's actions. I do believe, obviously, that what he's done is reprehensible. But I would say that ultimately, were this on a lower level, we'd seek to, there'd obviously be some shame involved, but he'd seek to maybe go to therapy, or in his case, the feeling of seems to have a fear of being assassinated. I'd say maybe some institutionalization would do him well. Of course, that being said, the institution is important, as well as his decision is important. 5149 is only necessary in, some cases. I think from him, he's lashing out, but 5149 would be a bit unacceptable. So in his case, I'd definitely say, just get some help, man. Just get some help, Go, take some meds or something, Just, maybe just chill out, Just go to therapy or something. I think that would do him well.